Overwatch.com.
We're getting ready for Game 3 here at HGC Europe as we're in the middle of the playoffs, and so far the Playing Ducks are down 0-2 against Strict Esport, as Strict Esport really showing up today as they obviously have been eating their Cheerios.
Yeah, they definitely did, and the Ducks have a problem. Strict is having a lot of fun right now.
Yeah.
Knowing all the players and how they communicate, they are currently having a blast in their voice comms. They're sitting there, they're enjoying themselves, they have a 2-0 lead, and putting them into a spot where they feel pressure is going to be incredibly difficult. So I think this is going to be very, very rough for the Ducks going forward.
Well, let's get ready for game number 3. What battleground are we going to? And I'm actually going to ask you over here, man, what did you expect coming into this series? Did you expect Trick Esports to have a 2-0 over the Playing Ducks?
No, like we talked about beforehand, we weren't really sure which team was going to show up today from Trick, the team that took Dignitas till the end or the team that lost 0-3 to B-Genius, and I think we've got our answer. I mean, they've looked dominant, and like you talked about, the Ducks, they don't seem to be there in communication. There's been 2 key fights where half their team seems to want to dive deep and half seems to want to run away, and it's really cost them games.
It really comes down to a couple seconds, too. That's the thing. If the Playing Ducks, again, as you mentioned with Trick Esports, when they show up today, which team are we getting? It's the same with the Playing Ducks. If they show up and they're on point and they're hitting their timings, they look great. But today, they seem to be slightly off, and they have to kick it into high gear, or they're going out here and they're going to have a chance to move up in the playoffs.
For the Ducks, this is also a really weird spot now because they won the first time with a 3-0 against Trick. Then in the second part of the season, they were able to take them down with a 3-1. So they feel they go up against someone they should be able to beat here. And they had also, of course, a lot of ambition going into the season, and ending on that note would be horrible for them. So I hope that they can fix these issues they're having right now, since they are much stronger than what they're showing at this point.
Well, Coughlin, we're going to Tomb of the Spider Queen here. If you're drafting, what are you thinking about in terms of heroes you got to pick up?
Tomb is all about that wave clear. One thing we've been seeing recently is Leoric has made a big resurgence on this map. You see him picked often in the 2-3 spot, whereas before he was something that was always available on the end of drafts or not used at all. I expect Leoric to go early. This is also the one map where they Alex the Pro-G has not picked Arthas when given the choice. So I'm curious to see if Playing Ducks has picked up on that and will continue to try to ban out his Arthas, or will let it go through knowing that they didn't pick it previously.
Well, that's actually really interesting to know.
Medivh would also be a hero that I would really like to see.
Yeah.
Sport Billy has played on Medivh to... He put his team on a completely different level when he played that hero. So this is going to be interesting to me because, first of all, we're talking again about a potential Genji. Even on this map, he can be really strong if you play him right. And then we have always the option for them to this time show Medivh. The ley lines of him are amazing. He has shown great play here. You have good vision on the map. So for me, it's really about what Sport Billy is going to be playing with.
And for me, it's about the Chromie here. We're going to Team of the Spider Queen, and the Playing Ducks have shown Chromie multiple times this battleground. I mean, you've played her. She can be pretty crazy on this one.
I love Chromie on this map. You just have to make sure that you're not giving away too much engage when you pick her. If the other team is able to get an early Leo or a Nubarak, it's going to be a rough day for Chromie.
Does Genji change up that Chromie matchup, by the way? Is he completely fierce? Is he really a great hero to shut her down?
I think in general he's good against Chromie. However, on this map, I think it's one of Genji's weaker maps. And also, the very close position of the walls to the objective allow Chromie to kind of do what she wants in the early game until those are knocked down. And Chromie's such a dominant early game hero, you're still going to get the value from her even up against a Genji here.
All right, well, we've also seen some Johanna and some Vala gameplay here, especially from Chris Blosian in particular. He really loves to go to that Johanna, so we'll see if that will be taken away by Trick Esports. With the Playing Ducks obviously showing a lot of great strategies on this battleground. This one and I believe Braxis are the ones that they really move to when they are hoping to get a win. So we'll see if they can pull it out here as the draft will now begin.
So, with the draft, we had already a bit of a discussion about a few heroes that we want to see. I would still expect an Uberak coming into a play very early. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think that Trick has shown that they prioritize it over Arthas here, and so if they are taking it over Arthas, pretty much everybody's going to be.
Yeah. I like what Trick is doing. We talked about Chromie already, as we know we have a team that really loves to play her. So the same is, of course, true about Trick. They have that info, and they're saying, yes, we ban that out immediately. Oriel taken away, that kind of shuts, there's a bit of a soft ban towards double support comms, since a lot of them incorporate Oriel. You can also run them with, of course, a Lucio instead, but overall, Oriel definitely a good ban, also because you can expect Gul'dan to be taken if the chance is there, and that's what they do. So I feel Tricked had the opportunity to either go into a Nubarak or pick someone like Gul'dan for wave clear. They decide this time in favor of Gul'dan. That leaves the Nubarak open, and we could see that now on the side of the Ducks. But I have to say, Crisplosion doesn't have the best track record on a Nubarak.
Yeah, as a Nubarak, unfortunately hasn't been as effective as you normally see, kind of getting picked out occasionally. Seems to be a little bit late on his disengages. His re-engages also slightly late too. Needs to be a bit quicker and more snappy.
That actually puts me, gives us one question. We see them go completely away from it. We see them prioritizing Grey Minimal Furion. If you have a situation like this in your own team where you say, listen, we like to play this hero, but the one player that plays on the hero just doesn't seem to click with it, what do you do in that case then? Do you give up a strong meta hero, or do you still say, okay, we need to just adjust our comp, maybe with a second warrior, to make it a bit more comfortable and to have that front line just more sustainable?
I think at this point when you're down 0-2, you need to just fall back into comfort picks. Just play what people are most comfortable with. At this point, instead of one drafter determining what everybody plays, you need to start taking people's input on the hero they're going to be playing. What do you feel most comfortable on? If the person playing the tank says, I want this particular tank, you have to trust them in this situation.
See if that trust will come through for the Playing Ducks as they move straight into Greymane and Malfurion. These are two heroes they are comfortable on. We've seen them in the past here. Trick Esports instead will answer with Lucio and Sonya, and Eternal has been killing it on Sonya today.
And this is still threatening a potential double support even if you want to play it. You have your bot laner in form of Sonya. You can go into a strong tank. You've seen Alex, for example, with Johanna, fits onto the map.
Yeah.
And Nubarak is still open. Arthas is also open. With Lucio, that would be great. If you want to go double support here, you can do that.
The Ducks sniff it out too. They even ban out the Uther, who is typically one of those second supports that you're going to see. And I love these mix-ups. Just the armor that he provides allow Sonya to be completely aggressive, and then you have that last second save always available with that Divine Shield. And if you want to go for a stun comp and lock someone down, you always have the option to go in a Divine Storm. So Uther no longer here. We go straight into the Anubrak and the Leoric. And at this point, you have to pick up the Anubrak. There's a Goldie on the opposing team. You need to be able to lock him down.
Yeah. So Nubarak has been taken. Let's see how Crisplosion can play it in this game now compared to the ones before. Is he strong enough here to just sustain that front line? Leoric for the bot lane, that's going to be an interesting battle. It's all about the Drain Hope once again. Do you hit those or you don't? This is basically what determines win or lose in that one-on-one lane. So we might see a few rotation from the mid lane to compensate for that. And now the big question, what are we seeing for the front line? Is it going to be Arthas? Is it going to be Johanna?
Well, we've seen that Playing Ducks at this point is pretty much committed to getting in hard on the Gul'dan. And so with that being the case, I think Arthas is a fantastic pick here, because Ducks have shown they don't have the best timing in their hard engages today. And so when three people dive in to get onto the Gul'dan, if they don't do it perfectly, the Arthas and Sonya are going to clean everything up. And the Tassadar just plays into that, keeping them alive long enough for the Arthas to do work.
Yeah. Not only that, Tassadar, the vision alone makes him so strong on this map, since he can control both of the turn-in points. During any kind of stalemate situation, you always know where you have to move, where you have to rotate to deny turn-ins.
Yeah, his vision helpful for also looking for those bosses in case you need to go in for one of those stops as well. Tassadar, we haven't seen him for a while here in Europe, but he shows up perfectly now to help out this team with controlling the space and watching out for those flanks.
Great situational pick here. It's so clear what Playing Ducks wants to do with their strategy, and as long as they're able to keep the Gul'dan alive, Tass is a great pick here just for the wave clear and the extra survivability he gives to their primary damage dealer. We've already seen that Playing Ducks was very, very scared of running against a double support Gul'dan based on their bans, and so picking up the Tassadar on the last pick here, you know that Playing Ducks did not want to see that.
And we're getting Nazebo here from the Ducks as the final pickup. This is one of those battlegrounds that he can soak relatively well on, and you have a pretty decent time getting to the mid to late game. But it does put you in a spot where they have Leoric now and Nazebo. They're wanting to make sure they don't lose too much in the early game, and there's a good chance here for Trick Esports to get aggressive and push in.
I said it on the last map with the draft that we saw on map number 2 for the Ducks. I thought they had a good shot if they got their communication right. That didn't happen. So all of a sudden we are in the third map, and I have to say I like what we are seeing for Tricked. I don't think that the problems that the Ducks had up to this point are going to be resolved within one game. So I would say we have a very good chance of seeing this end with a 3-0.
Well, do you think the Ducks have a chance here to at least get on the board?
I think it's going to be very similar to the last game where they have to make it through the first 5 minutes of the game at an even state or they're going to start getting snowballed on. I think they picked the Nazebo as a response to a very slow defensive comp from Tricked. I don't think that was their plan from the get-go. And Gul'dan, if he gets the early turn-ins, gets a level lead, when they hit 9 or 10, the wave clear is just going to snowball all over before the Nazebo can get that advantage.
All right, well, we'll see if that will be the case here, as Tricked Esport is hoping to walk away with a 3-0 victory. Now, do remember, whoever does win this series right now will go on to face off against Expert. Let's figure out if Playing Ducks will get on the scoreboard or if we're going to have Tricked Esports walk away with a 3-0. We're going to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Let's do it.
A 2-0 lead currently for Tricked Esports, going up against the Playing Ducks in game number 3 on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And to the left, we have the Ducks once again with Chris on Nazebo, Nanda on Leoric, Wolf Joe on Malfurion, Spot Billy on the Greymane today, and Chris Explosion on the Nubarak.
Tricked Esport to the right. In the red, Nape will be on the Lucio. Going to watch out for his heals. Alex the Proji back on his boy Arthas, while Crosby will be showing off the Gul'dan. Eternal, for the 3rd time in a row, will be on Sonya, and Rimmer will be playing Tassadar.
So at this point, we have already the Hopelessness taken as the level 1 on Leoric. So it's all about the Drain Hope at that bot lane. Leoric going up against Sonya, most likely on the solo lane. It actually looks for a moment as if Alex is thinking about move. Okay, switching now with Eternal. But that battle is a pretty interesting, very dynamic one that is all about Leoric hitting his W, hitting his Drain Hole.
I think Sonya was in that top lane in case we had a big rush down. Can do that with Nazebo, maybe burn down a turret. Eternal does finally move his way on down as the Ducks will start the rotations. Now, in terms of wave clear, it's all here for Crosby as he'll be using that Gul'dan to clear through the waves with his double supports consistently protecting him. On the other side, the Ducks, they got pretty good wave clear too. They got Nazebo, they got Greymane, and they got Lucio, so they can hang 10 here if they need to.
I'm worried for them though. I really am. They are down 2 games already. They have to win 3 in a row to advance to face Team Expert. Would be a reverse sweep. And so far, I really like what Tricked has been showing today. They look very strong, which is impressive considering that they didn't get any training in this week.
Yeah, they have definitely squelched any doubt I had before going into the series today. And even if they get reverse sweeped here, proud of what Tricked has done so far in the first couple games.
It really feels as if that break, that forced break, did them a lot of good. They are looking very refreshed, they're having fun playing, they are very on point with everything they do, and that works out for them. The Ducks under pressure, and we have to see if they can handle it. But so far, they at least established their presence on the map. We have down to the bottom at the turn-in spot already Alex trying to set something up apparently against Malfurion, but Wolfjo is moving up, and therefore no opportunity for Alex to get a Howling Blast.
That's a really good point, man. Just having a break occasionally can be very healthy for you and your squad. Get a chance to reset, come back with a fresh mind, and not put so much stress on yourself to actually show up and destroy your gameplay that you've been working so hard on. And Tricked Esports, although we do lose a member here in the top right, have looked great in these last couple of games. Now, both of our teams are moving towards level 4 here after 2 minutes and looking to start get those turn-ins available here as 22 gems are available for the Ducks.
The Ducks with the first blood. They get the kill against Gul'dan. This is exactly what they want. It's what they need, what they're looking for. Dropping Gul'dan as the main damage dealer. But the turn-ins, that's of course what we have to focus on as well. Who gets the first one? Who is able to just snowball this map a little bit, get extra experience by taking down towers. And so far, both teams have turned in 13 gems.
Turn-ins are going to be difficult for both teams. Lots of poke here from Tassadar and Gul'dan for Tricked, and on the other side, the Ducks have their own poke. They have Nazebo, they have Greymane with that cocktail, Malfurion with Moonfire. It's going to come down to really just getting a pick or two and then going in for the tune-ins or being super, super sneaky.
Talking about potential picks, Alex is doing all of these turn-in attempts, anchoring the side, hoping for someone to walk into him that he can lock down and then take out with the rest of the team. Spot Billy might just be in trouble here, but dodges the Howling Blast, and that was a clutch one. If he is caught by that, he would fall.
Just barely being dodged on here, while Chris will keep up with the poking on the right side. And you're seeing the struggle for both teams as they try to drop off gems between their rotations. And not really finding any success in that regard. It really comes down to the bottom lanes, actually. They're the ones that can get their turn-ins when available. Top lane continues to be pushed in here as Crosby works on clearing. Chrisplosion doing a solid job of making sure to zone.
I really like the level 4 talent for Tassadar here as well. Corton has been talking a bit before it started what Tassadar is trying to do. You try to keep your main damage dealer as either Gul'dan or if the situation really demands it, Sonya. Try to keep them alive when they're getting bursted, and having Karla's Light here is really helping you. In a team fight here, it's also getting value, but Alex might still fall. There's the extra armor, and that is actually exactly why Alex is able to walk away. The level 4 talent that just came into play in the last moment as Alex was focused.
That armor helping him stay alive there, get healed up, and that synergizes really well with Lucio too. Lucio's not very good at burst healing, but he will get you out of a situation if you just stay alive. Lucio is able to do so thanks to that Tassadar shield, but with that fight happening, the playing Ducks get an opportunity to drop some gems off, and they have 43 now in the bank.
I just love adjustments like this. Oftentimes with a heavy auto attacker, you see Tassadars going into Karla's Embrace, which is fantastic for the extra life leech on your auto attacks. But if it's really all about mitigating burst that your opponent puts on you, then Karla's Light is fantastic since you gain the extra armor after the shield is broken, and that's what saved Alex. So already a talent that really helps. And at this point, we have Tassadar even adjusting with his extra range right now. And that's fantastic because now he's able to interrupt even more so every single turn-in attempt.
Interruption, and he can also do what Tassadar needs to do, which is stay in the back and just keep an eye on that gold dam. So Tassadar build really coming into fruition here. Ethernal starting to get some aggression, and Sport Billy will be delayed by Alex Aproji. New York forced to retreat now, but Trick Esport overall having a hard time with dropping off these gems, while the playing Ducks only need 7 more, and they are frantically looking for the opportunity.
Yeah, the Ducks want the first turn-in. They're really trying right now. They're hoping for that early turn-in, gain finally some momentum in this series, and it hasn't been easy for them thus far. But they are, as you said, only 7 gems away from getting the first Web Weaver wave.
Gonna continue watching this back and forth between our teams. Spider build has been picked up for Nazeebo. All 3 talents, and the first ones are, of course, the Spider ones, building up for that late game, so definitely going for the Vile Infection build. Hitting that level 20 power spike, which will always be difficult to get to, especially when 10 hits here. A couple of options for Trick Esport at 10. They can go on me to dead, but I can see a world here where they get a turn in and get a Cindergrosa and push in aggressively and try to stop this late game power from hitting.
Yeah, personally, I would like them to go into Army because of the Cursed Bullet, but overall, with the double support that they have, they could do that. If they feel that they can snowball it hard enough, it's a momentum-based choice. I think the safer one is Army, but if you feel you can build up enough momentum to really dominate, then Cindergrosa is oftentimes a very good tool.
See if we'll go down that route here as 10 is getting close. Nande low on health, but the drain life will keep him alive just barely, even with the poison from Sonya.
Yeah, that was a very, very close one, though. Yeah, he just barely got away from this one. But that also means that they are now losing that turn.
They are. As 47 gems have been dropped off, we need 3 more for the Red Weavers, and there they are. The Red Web Weavers dropping in for a Trick, and they will start their push here. And after they get a turret or 2, Heroics will be hitting. But luckily for the Ducks, they've held on well enough to where they'll hit 10 themselves.
We're even right now. We are even in the game, but the Web Weavers can change everything. 10 already dropping, 4 tricked. Army has been chosen as the tool. Archon on the side of Tassadar, and we are seeing Trick starting to move into the middle.
They're moving in here. Watching to see what they can poke down. They left Sonya in the bottom lane to clear out her own lane, while 2 for the Ducks are in the top, clearing out the Web Weaver. Experience being grabbed here, and Trick Esports makes the play to move in. Chris will drop Gargantuan, while Chrisplosion and Sport Billy come in for the flank.
Chrisplosion misses the stun, but goes once again for Crosby. The shield is in. Horrify being used, and the sound barrier on the side of Lucio is just barely saving him for now. Roots in the back. Alex trying to escape with the Army. Kill and double kill as we are seeing Greymane and Anubarak both die.
Textbook play there from both Rimmer and Nape. Nape was hit with Cocoon. We saw Rimmer turn around and burn it down with his auto attack. And then the moment they come out, they drop a shield on Gul'dan, drop the sound barrier, and turn the fight around in a 4v4 and get 2 kills.
And Tacita gaining so much value out of the shield and the level 4. Gul'dan was even trapped in the wall of zombies, but never fell. Tacita allowed Lucio to get his own ult off in time to save him. And it wasn't only Gul'dan that benefited from it. Arthur's also in trouble at the front, able to survive, and then Greymane and Anubarak found themselves in a really bad spot. They want to have these snap kills, they didn't get them, the fight took too long, and they fell.
And you mentioned every single hero that was in that fight, but what about the one that was missing? Sonya.
Yeah.
She was in bottom lane the entire time pushing in. She got a fort. That push by itself got 2 forts for Trick Esports and has opened up the map.
You know, what you just said makes this even more crazy. Sonya at that bot lane getting the value, which means we had a 5 versus 4 in that mid lane. So absolutely fantastic situation for Trick. And 48 gems on Eternal. If they can turn that in, it's nearly an entire... He has an entire turn in. They have 7 already.
They do. They have an entire turn in available here. If they can just drop it off at some point, they'll be able to move in. They need... What's that?
Now, there's an upside and downside to this. Well, first of all, Crosby is caught and taken down. That's not good. Cocoon used. They are trying to make this a double, but the stun is missing as they're moving away.
Okay, well, with Gul'dan being down, that's 19 seconds where Trick Esports needs to play careful, which should allow the Ducks to clear out that bottom lane, which is very important for Nazebo to get the stacks, but also for them to push in. And they have dropped off the gems. Web Weavers will be pushing.
Now, what Trick should have done, hindsight being 2020 as always, they should have waited for 13, only deny turn-ins, and then with 13, try to go in. But then Gul'dan gets caught, is a bit too far out. Leoric with the Entomb doesn't miss the opportunity here, and now they have to face the Web Weavers. This is, on the other hand, a massive problem. Eternal falling, 54 gems?
This is scary.
A nightmare.
Yep, he gets Twilight Dream. We're going to have the Tassadar Shield coming out. Eternal still low on health. Is he actually surviving right now? He is actually living right now, Caldor. He actually dies to the Gargantuan in the back right, but they save the gems, and they turn it into a 2v1 trade here. Maybe a third. No, Crisplosion does get away. But holy moly.
If I'm a player on the playing Ducks, I'm hating my life right now. This is,
Gargantuan had to clean it up.
You see the one hero that holds all the gems for your opponent. He goes into the throw pit, and you're like, boys, we got this. All of a sudden, there's the shield from Tacita, moves in, and then he starts spinning again. And you don't have a stun available. And you're just thinking, wait a moment. Don't tell me that guy actually lives. They lose 2 heroes, finally kill Sonya, doesn't matter. No, Lucio picks up the gems.
And they still go for an engage here. Here's an Entomb. Chris trying to bring out damage, but Trick Esports is going to live through this engagement. We do have the final Web Weaver finally getting cleaned up in the bottom lane, as the Ducks are moving towards their overarching goal, which is to get to level 20. They're 6 away.
Yeah, definitely. Playing Ducks on 20 with a Vial Infection would be great for them. I have to also say, what I was trying to say earlier when the fight started, having all of your gems on one hero, it's good and bad at the same time. If he dies, of course, you are in a lot of trouble. But it also means you have to only sneak one single hero in to get the turn in. So that can be a blessing in disguise if you just open up the space for him. And we have that on Nappa now. If he gets the turn in, that is an insta-Web Weaver wave, but not so much as the Ducks are a bit faster on the turn in.
Ducks getting the answer back here, and this will allow for them to tie up the game in experience if they can get 1 force killed off, and 2 the experience needed for them to do so. Nande pushing a little bit aggressively here in the middle, but they will need to wait for the Greymane, who's rotating on in. Finally, Sports Billy shows up, and we're going to have Crisplosion go for the Impale.
15 versus 14, 2 misused. Alex silenced and taken down. Big kill here for the Ducks, but they lose Anubarak. They lose their front line. Sound barrier is dropped, and with Trick now taking an aggressive stance, the Ducks for now are abandoning the Web Weaver, but they're still in the area, posturing around for a potential turnaround.
Yeah, they just need to posture around here to make sure that Trick Esports doesn't clear this so quickly to the point where they lose value on their other Web Weavers. The one on the top is pushing in, working on the fort, which again, if that fort starts to fall, that gives them to level 16, and then they're only 1 talent away from the Storm talents they want at level 20. Eternal will sneak by as a cursed bullet nails him on the side.
Yeah, and that route that we saw from Alfurion nearly locked him down, but he was able to escape. Tricked with the 16. Don't lose a hero here, that they have lost the fort, or one of them, down to the bottom of the map. Tasilas taking care of the Web Weaver as the rest is now in the middle, attempting to stop that push. Nanda locked down, but can Wraith walk away?
Trick Esport is 16 to 15. They're looking to get the fight here, and a tomb goes off. Nande hoping to save his teammates from death here. Alex Aproji gets hit by a root, and the Playing Ducks will be able to escape here as they look for level 16.
Yeah, they barely escape, but it is a rough game from both sides at this point. The Ducks with 16 now, both teams on the same talent level, but the turn-in on Nappe is not even contested, and they are actually posturing at the boss. They go for the boss at this point. They keep it alive, and they set everyone else up for a potential fight. This is... It looks like a trap, and it smells like a trap.
Yeah, it's a bait. 100% bait. Alex Aproji turns around for the Howling Blast. It will connect with Nazebo. Fear comes out. Nande low on health. Crisplosion able to escape, and the Playing Ducks will be able to retreat.
Yeah, that wasn't the fear they were looking for. Not quite able to lock someone down. The only one pushed into the boss pit is Anubarak, and he can dive down. But still Sonya now in the mid lane, whereas up to the top the push continues. But keep in mind, both of the teams in the same talent, so Trick has to be careful, especially since Sonya is still split.
Especially that Entomb being up. The Entomb does miss as he goes out for it, and that will allow Trick Esport to turn around. They do have to be careful though. With Impales coming out in the bed of Barbs, it can be quite difficult to move forward as a Gul'dan and actually apply the damage that you would like to do. Solid defense for the Ducks here on the top. Eternal and crew actually taking a decent amount of poke, but they do have Web Weavers pushing in the middle and the bottom.
Yeah, those Web Weavers can be a pain, but also they're still way out, so it's still an opportunity for the Ducks to show a great defense here. The question is there going to be a hero falling, as especially Chris is starting to struggle. Alex is pushing in against him whenever he can. Explosion, quick attempt for the stun, trying to set something up here. Cocoon is used as they go in.
Nande turns around, he will have Entomb up in 2 seconds. Twilight Dream being used here by Wolf Joe. Eternal locked in the Entomb. There is the Burrow charge to knock him out of Whirlwind.
Sound barrier got interrupted there, and Anubarak is down. Sonya falling as well. Lucio really struggling in that fight, trying whatever he can, but Inape had to deal with so many things. Nanda all of a sudden seems like he might fall. Sound barrier has finally been used, but this was... From Nape's point of view, that was extremely frustrating, this fight. Sound barrier wasn't cooldown. This, by the way, as shown here, is fantastic for them getting the keep. But sound barrier wasn't cooldown first. Then it barely gets off, and he wants to use it. You can see that the Entomb, the second one, comes down. He's in a perfect position. He wants to use sound barrier, and as he channels, he gets interrupted, drops back on the 10-second cooldown, and in the meantime, they lose Sonya. It was very, very unfortunate for Lucio, this particular fight. That it was very lucky also for the Ducks. Was great. If it was intentional, which I don't think it was, since they, of course, don't see these cooldowns as we do, that could have backfired very hard if that last Anubarak stun didn't hit in the perfect moment.
Well, the Ducks are in a spot now where they have to have a couple more perfect moments to beat out Trick Esport. They need to clear out this Web Weaver push that is coming their way from middle and bottom, but also handle the catapult pressure in the bottom with the Web Weaver. 19 to 17 as Trick Esport is moving towards level 20 and looking for keeps.
Yeah, they are looking for keeps right now. They have the first one in the bot lane already, as we already saw earlier. But this is going to be another attempt to drop one more. 20, of course, is so close that they might want to not push the envelope too far. This is important to them now. Don't die here. You're way ahead, but they are trying to make the play already. Zoning out, especially Nazebo, going deep by Eternal. There's the shield, and Tomb is blocking him completely, but Eternal is getting out.
They're having a really hard time killing this Sony here with the double support, the shields coming out from Rimmer, as well as the sound barrier being needed at the last second. Nappe didn't even need to use his sound barrier to save that Sonya. A second keep will fall, and Trick Esport is making a move for the third keep.
Exactly. They have 20. They have the level 20 talent. They can go for it. There's no doubt that if they put their mind to it, this is a potential last keep that falls here. We have 14 more seconds until Leoric is back, so they need to be cautious about it, but they still have sound barrier, so they could take this if they really wanted to.
They're moving in. A level and a half for the Ducks, and they set up defense pretty well. Trick Esport decides to pull back.
They can go for the boss.
Yeah.
They can go for the boss, start that. The Ducks know, of course, about the threat, so they have to at least double check, and Chris is doing that. Crisplosion is there, but this is a fight. This is a fight you can take. The cooldowns on the heroics, that's the big worry for me right now. 10 seconds until we have Arthur's back. 12 for Gul'dan, and they move in. Alex already a bit low, though.
Alex approached, he set up a flank, he went in for Whoop Joe. Eternal is forced to use Ignore Pain here to survive. He dodges the Impale that would have disrupted it, so he does survive here. A spear will be up soon. Can he catch anyone? No. He's going to go ahead and pull on back.
Now we have the reverse. Most of the heroics have been used by the Ducks. Tricked has still 3 available. They can force this boss even more. Alex being attacked, gets into him. There's no way they kill him. No way.
Sound barrier too, to make sure that he cannot be killed out. Nande is locked here on the left side here. Eternal chasing both the tanks down. Crosby on the left has already used his Horrify, so no major chase available for them. Massive Impale will connect, so the Ducks will be able to get away, and they are buying time. They're getting closer to 20 during all of this.
It's great for the Ducks now. These fights not really happening is great for them. They buy time for that 20. I would have loved for Trick to just simply move on to the boss immediately after they saved Arthur's. They can take this on the spot, there's no doubt about it, but now they have used their own cooldowns. So this is starting to become a very awkward tiptoeing that we have here. So yeah, Crisplosion is apparently willing to move in for this, but they're dropping a lot of his hit points again. Keep in mind, posturing around here, yes, it buys time for the playing Ducks to go to 20. But it also means the bot and the mid lane are pressuring very, very hard.
Yes, those catapults really coming in here. They haven't made it a chance to actually get to the core, but they're getting to a point where there are 4 catapults in the bottom lane, and they are getting closer and closer. Nazeebo will have to go defend.
And with Nazeebo defending, Trick turns in.
Good, 59 here. They need 6 more gems, but 20 is here. Vile Infection, Spectral Leech, unlocked. This is where the Ducks have solid team fight and can start to win team fights overall if they get a couple of spider mix-ups in the rotations.
Yeah, 20 was big for them. 20 is really big. And they have the turn-in. They have a turn-in potentially. So this is something that Trick needs to worry about. They themselves have only 1 gem that they hold. They need 5 more to make a potential turn-in happen. But look at that bot lane. Again, it's pressuring, and you can see it on the minimap. The catapults are pressuring, and that is putting the Ducks on a clock.
Delay, delay, delay is the name of the game here for Trick. Finally, with Gargantuan popping out, the Ducks will get their own turn in, and this is a sigh of relief for them. They'll have bottom lane, middle lane, and top lane all pushing in, so they can go force a team fight. Nande aggressively walks in with a Wraith walk, attempting to fight.
Yeah, they go for Alex once again. Look for an Uberak. He's already low. Remaballer moving away with a dimensional shift as Nande falls. Leoric is down. This is bad for the Ducks. The Web Weaver wave, they need to get value out of it. They need to look for a key, but now they lost Leoric. Their bottom Web Weaver wave is not going to do anything for them anyways because he's so heavily pushed in. The only one where they can still get value is the one at the top, and I don't know about you, but I don't see more than a fort falling here.
Yeah, that fort's the only one going in. They're looking for a fight instead here, especially with Nande on his way back in from Ghost Form. Crisplosion being focused down. The Twilight Dream has been used, but Crosby with auto attacks from the Archon and Gul'dan will get the kill.
Bodied. Get wrecked. 3 kills in that fight
game.
alone, and that has to be a trick. I mean, this is the moment that you've been waiting for the entire game. You start to move in. Leoric is going to be back, yes, but what is he going to do? You have Nazeebo with a Vile Infection dishing out a ton of damage, no doubt about it. But in a 5 versus 2, I don't see any way they can defend this.
Well, the tomb has popped out. Nande is hoping to make something happen here. Etherna will go in for the engage, and Chris is just sieging from afar. But with 2 supports here, Nape in particular on that Lucio, he just keeps everyone topped off, and the core is starting to fall.
They're out-healing everything here. The core is losing hit points, and now they're zoning Nazeebo as well. Alex is dropping the army, and they're going for it. Trick Esports, they are doing it. Our first playoff game is taken as Trick wins on Tomb of the Spider Queen and takes it with a 3-0, not dropping a map.
What a decisive way to come out for the playoffs and set yourself up for victory. And this is good for them. Winning at 3-0 means going into the next match. They're not playing these long best-of-5 series, so they can keep moving up the ladder, as they'll be awarded here by being in a spot to fight off against Expert here. Expert is the next one for them. But let's talk about this series. We see Trick Esports come out with a 3-0, and they shut down the Playing Ducks.
I think these guys have helped establish the meta. We saw some big Sonya nerfs recently, and these guys have shown it doesn't affect them at all. They're just going to 1-2 it, pick it every single game of the series, and dominate with it.
Sonya really benefited from the lack of stuns. The only source of really strong stuns that could be used regularly was a Nubarak. And he was diving the backline, they were looking for Gul'dan kills, and Sonya was mostly unaffected by these situations. Tassadar, with the extra shield and the armor that results in breaking it, was fantastic for them.
Yeah, that was actually a really good point. The Arthas continually having to bring out the Impale there or the Impale came out to stop Arthas, which allowed Sonya to be the one that's really aggressive there. So very difficult, but Tricked Esport really showing off that front line and how powerful it can be. And it looks like we have a replay for you to check out. Let's go ahead and go through it, man.
Bring it on up.
We're putting him a little bit on the spot here because he's new, so this is basically initiation ritual.
There it is. We got it.
So look at this. They separate the Sonya, and right now their eyes are just lit up seeing those 54 gems on Sonya and the chance to completely separate and turn the game. This silence here, I really like this silence. That spin would have gotten the Sonya up to 100 health instantly on 4 people. However, there was a Tassadar coming in at just the right time from the Wilderness, lands that shield, keeps Sonya up just enough to secure those gems, save her long enough for her to get to a safe spot and for them to get 2 kills. This was a huge turning point, where if Tassadar had been half a second slower there, the game might have turned into the favor of the Ducks here.
Incredible play overall, man. Eternal buying enough time, trusting his teammates to show up there. He literally went to the edges of that battleground just to survive.
One other thing that stands out in the series for me is we mentioned several times that Trick didn't have enough practice time because one of their team members had to deal with, I think, family matters. And they didn't incorporate Genji in any of the plays here today. I think it's also a result of exactly that problem they had. But they played extremely well with it. But that priority that we saw when we were talking earlier about Genji potentially being picked up only showed a map number 1 and didn't even work against them. So going into the next series, I'm pretty excited for that, since I feel when we're seeing Expert play, that's going to put a completely different twist onto the story. But so far for Trick, it has been a fantastic day.
Expert, the team that will bring out the twist. Can we have Tricked Esport handle the possibility of triple support? We'll find out after this quick commercial break.